Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Write with Neethus. This is me, Hannah Kishaji. So we're back after a long gap. I hope you guys remember what we discussed in the previous lives. I was just introducing writing module to you all. I was discussing various assessment criteria and what exactly is the examiner looking for. So I was giving an idea about that, and I hope those parts are clear to each and every one of you. So today, and while discussing those things, I don't know if you remember, I had told you one thing, that academic and general writing are different. Okay, so for academic, you have tables, charts, etc. for task 1, and for general task 1 you have letters, and also task 2 questions also slightly differ. So in this video I'm going to, so it's not possible for me to just discuss or explain academic and general writings together. So in this live we'll be looking at academic task 1, bar graph. Okay, we will be discussing that in this live. All right, so I hope you're all ready for it. So, we'll take one by one. So in this slide, we'll take academic bar chart, task 1, then another live we'll do line graph, and then table, and then we'll also do letters. So in each live, we'll do each part. Okay, I hope it's clear to you. So with today's live, like I mentioned, we're going to do academic task 1 bar chart. First type of question, that is bar graph. So how do you answer a bar graph question? First I'll explain to you in simple words, then we'll get into the details. So first one is you're given a bar chart. You know the bar charts we have learned in school. The same thing is what you'll be getting. So in the bar chart, some data is given. So first thing you do is you read the question. So on top of this bar graphs, they'll give 2 or 3 sentences, 2 or 3 lines, the question, the actual question. So you'll read the question, and then you will also read the graph. So now comes the question, how do I read bar graph? So in order to read bar graph, what you have to say is you have to say the data in one line. Try saying the data in one line. This has to happen really quick. You only have 20 minutes for your task 1. If you take almost 10 minutes reading out the data, then you wouldn't have time to write the answers. So it's very important that you read the question and write it. It's very important that you say all say out the data in different sentences. Okay. So now I think without wasting much time, let's go to the material. 1 second. All right, so let's go to the material. IELTS writing task 1 academic. So here you can see a question. See, like I mentioned before, you're given 2-3 lines of the question. So the chart below shows the percentage of young people at universities in 6 countries in 2000 and 2007. So this is the question given to you, and summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. This part would be same for all the type of questions, all the questions. So here where they're giving your data like this. So the actual question here is, the chart below shows the percentage of young people at universities in 6 countries in 2000 and 2007. So the first task for you is to paraphrase this part. How do you paraphrase this part? So you have to definitely paraphrase, but even after thinking for 1 or 2 minutes, if you're not able, not even 1 or 2 minutes, you only have very few seconds to think think for Think an answer for paraphrasing. Think another way of paraphrasing. So what you do is you use that time, and if you don't get how to paraphrase it, you come back to the question, and you make minor changes and write the answer. So you'll paraphrase the question, writing making minor changes. So this question is about universities, young people at universities in 6 countries. So here an easy trick you can do for these type of questions is that you can write the names of those countries where they've given 6 countries. In the place where they've given 6 countries, you can write the names of all the 6 countries. And if they've given years, more than 2 years, most of the time they give like between this and this, or from this to this. In those cases also you can write the years. So that's actually a change, right? That is also counted as paraphrasing. So you can do that. So that is one of the changes you can make here in order to paraphrase that question. Another change that you can make to paraphrase this question is you can change the word percentage. Wherever you see the word percentage, the synonym for percentage is proportion. So you can use the word proportion. Now we've already done making minor changes, and that is your paraphrased version of the question. Your paraphrased version of the question is ready. Okay, so this is how you do it. So they have explained it in here, and you don't have to think about it or read it now. Just listen to what I'm saying now, and later we'll come back to these areas and we will read it. The next step you have to do is read out the data. For example, 38% of the Italian youth were enrolled in universities in 2000. 38% of the Italian youth were enrolled in universities in 2000. Okay, so you're reading out the data. I would say you should read out everything in the question. Read out every data given in the question so that you become close with the question. You are close to it, and it's easier for you to write the answers. So now you know Italian youth enrolled in universities 38%. So we're going to do it together now. And in 2007, the youth enrolled in the university is 52. Spain, it's 46 and 41. UK, it's 46 and 54. Poland, it's 64 and 78. Norway, it's 66 and 65. And 70 and 70. Now, your task is to find the key trends, the key elements in that question, the key features. So because the question asks you for summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So you're going to write an overall paragraph. Overall paragraph is nothing but a paragraph right after the introduction, before the body paragraph, that you start with overall. The word overall, comma, and you write the main features, the features that stand out. Just look at the question for maybe like take 30 seconds or so and find out the main features like highest, lowest, which all remain stable. Some features like that. I'll give you 30 seconds for that. Okay, could you find one? Okay, so and also you have to plan something at this point. In which all basis will you divide the paragraph? So here, look at the trend. Italy shows an increasing trend. Spain shows a decreasing trend. UK increasing. Poland increasing. Norway stable. Finland also Norway decreasing, Finland stable. So we can understand from this that Italy, UK and Poland shows an increasing trend. Spain and Norway show a decreasing trend. and Finland remains stable. So, you're going to include this data in the body paragraph 1. So, in body paragraph 1, you will talk about the countries that show increasing trend. In body paragraph 2, you will write countries that show decreasing trend plus Finland that remains stable. So you should have, so when someone asks you on what basis did you categorize them into 2 paragraphs, you should be able to give an answer to that question. You should be able to say that I divided these data into 2 paragraphs on the basis of this. You should be able to give an answer like that. All right. So, so in overall, you can mention this trend that Italy, UK, and Poland showed an increasing trend. Spain and Norway showed a decreasing trend, and Finland remained the same in 2000 and 2007. You can discuss this in the overall, the main features. Okay, let's look at a sample answer. The bar graph illustrates the proportion of youth from 6 countries. So here the only change they've made is proportion. Okay. The bar graph illustrates the proportion of youth from 6 countries. You can write the names of 6 countries here. Names of 6 countries here. Okay. In the universities in 2000 and 2007. Overall, it is clear that among the given countries, Finland, so this is the way you can start your overall paragraph. This is a very simple, common way of starting overall paragraph. If you have some other ways, so you have to go through various sample answers. I often tell my students, how do you learn to speak? You learn to speak by listening. You listen to other people speaking and your brain processes it and you learn to speak that language. In the same way, how do you learn to write? You learn to write by reading. So you don't read to speak by reading. You don't read to speak, but you read to write. All right. So what do you have to read? Don't go for newspapers or articles or anything like that. You can go read different types and different sample answers. Various sample answers would actually give you an idea about how to write those type of essays. So now when we read this sample, we got a way of writing our overall paragraph, which is overall, it is clear that among the given countries, Finland had the highest proportion of youth enrolled in the universities. So the highest, they're writing the highest. Finland had the highest proportion of youth enrolled in universities in 2000. While this shows comparison, you will get marks for this. Okay? If you write things like this, you will get marks. While in 2000, the maximum percentage while in 2007, the maximum percentage was recorded in Poland. There was a change in the proportion of students in all the countries except Finland. So we mentioned the highest proportion in 2000, Finland, while shows, so when Finland was the highest in 2000, at that time, what happens in 2007? In 2007, the maximum percentage was recorded. Okay, so here we wrote Finland had the highest. Here we're writing maximum percentage was recorded in Poland. So this is a way of writing the highest feature. You can write Finland had the highest proportion of youth enrolled, and or maximum percentage was recorded in Poland. So you can write it in active voice and passive voice together. So you're showcasing your ability to write the answers, or the ability to use active voice and passive voice at the same time. So there was a change in the proportion of students in all countries. So instead of saying 3 countries had increasing trend, 3 countries had decreasing trend, they've just mentioned there was a change. This is very important, using the right words. Here they're not saying increasing or decreasing or anything. They just saying there was a change, that could be increasing or decreasing or any change. So almost all the 5 countries had a change except Finland. Except Finland, all the countries had a change. Now, body paragraph 1. This is body paragraph 1. In Italy, the UK, okay, when we write UK, USA and all, the UK. In Italy, the UK and Poland, the percentage of youth enrolled in universities. So the percentage of youth enrolled in the universities, this is the same thing from the question. These are the names of the countries. So you have all the information here, increased over the period. So first sentence, topic sentence should act like a heading for the passage. It should say what you're going to discuss in that paragraph. Okay, so here when we read it, we understand the percentage of the youth enrolled in universities that showed an increasing trend that increased over the period. So in 2000, then comma. So after writing the year, you should put a comma. In 2000, 38% of the Italian youth and 64% of the Polish youth were studying at universities. Look at the way they've said it. This is a different way of saying what percentage of students studied at universities. So 38% of Italian youth, 64% of Polish youth were studying at universities. And both the countries experienced a rise of. So both the countries experienced. So this is another thing that you can learn. Both the countries experienced a rise of 14% by 2007. Similarly, the proportion of the students in the UK increased from 46 to 54%. So use of the word similarly. So what all things did we learn in here? So in Italy, so this is how you learn things from a sample answer. You will go through a word by word, every word in it, every sentence in it, every phrase in it, and you will learn it like that. So here what we learned here from this paragraph, what we learned is when we write a paragraph, our first sentence should act as a topic sentence. If someone reads it, they should be able to understand what the paragraph is going to talk about. So in here we can understand they're talking about the percentage of youth enrolled in universities that increased over the period. In 2000, 38% of Italian youth, 64% of Polish youth were studying at universities. And both the countries experienced a rise of 14% by 2000. So Polish youth were studying in universities. They experienced a rise of. The way of saying is experienced a rise of. Youth studying in universities, at universities. Then they experienced a rise. So instead of saying it increased from this to that, they are saying it had an increase of 14%. Those figures should be exact, okay? If it's not the same for both the countries, don't go for this. Okay, similarly, the proportion of students, then similarly, use of the word similarly, the proportion of the students in the UK increased from 46 to 54%. So in one place they said the difference, in another place they said from is to. So everywhere they're using the word the proportion of the students, percentage of the youth enrolled in university, the proportion of the students. These are the words they've used to talk about the youth, the proportion of the youth enrolled at universities. So I hope that's clear. Just go through it on your own. Just read it once more, and then I'll go to the next part. Okay, so now we'll move on to the next paragraph, which is by contrast. So here you should be talking about something contrast. What do you mean by contrast? Contrast colors, black and white, contrast colors, something opposite. So if you're going to talk about something opposite, you can write by contrast. By contrast, Spain and Norway witnessed a slight decline in the percentage of youth attending university. By contrast, what? Spain and Norway witnessed. Okay, showed. Instead of saying showed, they have said the word witnessed. Spain and Norway witnessed a slight decline in the percentage of youth attending the university. So that means in this paragraph they're going to talk about Spain and Norway. In Spain, proportion fell from, so they've just simply said proportion. Proportion fell from 46% to 41%. Okay, and Norway, it dropped. So here they use the word fell. Okay, and here they've used the word dropped. Marginally from 66. Marginally, that means it was a small decline. Okay, marginally from 66% to 65%. Finally, the percentage of Finnish youth, another way of saying students from Finland, Finnish youth, remained unchanged at 17 both years. So here what you can see, they've talked about all the years, all the data, use different words and phrases in different places. That's it. So which all words have we learned from body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2? Let's revise it. In Italy, the UK, that's something which we need to be careful of. Poland, the percentage of youth enrolled in universities. Percentage of youth enrolled in universities. Okay. Increased over the period. Increased over the period. That is something we can use in another essay as well. In 2000, so you're talking about a data in a year. So after 2000, you should put a comma. 38% of the Italian youth and 64% of the Polish youth. You see, 38% of the Italian youth, for 64% of the Polish youth were studying at the universities, and both the countries experienced a rise to 40% by 2007. So in 2000 they've mentioned the data of 2000, and then it experienced a rise of 14% by 2007. Similarly, the proportion of students in the UK increased from 46 to 54%. And another data is also given, another country which is UK is also given. By contrast, that is one word that we learned. Spain and Norway witnessed, that is a new word we learned, a slight decline marginally in the percentage of youth attending the university. In Spain, the proportion fell from 46 to 41, and in Norway it dropped marginally from 66 to 65. Finally, the percentage of Finnish youth remained unchanged at 70% in both years. So I hope it's clear to you. Okay, let's move to the next one. I'm going to show you a band 8 sample. Alright, just another way of writing the same essay. So this is what you should be doing. Like, you should go through different ways of writing the same essay or a report around some. So band 8, the bar chart compares the percentage of young people in 6 different countries who were enrolled in universities in 2000 and 2007. Read that part. The bar chart compares. Okay, in the earlier one, what did we say? The bar chart illustrates the proportion of youth. Here they're saying the bar chart compares the percentage of young people instead of youth. They've used the word young people in 6 different countries who were enrolled in the universities in 2000 and 2007. Well and good. Overall, Finland recorded the highest proportion of university students. Okay, Finland recorded. One way of saying Finland recorded the highest proportion of university students in 2000, whereas at the same time Poland had the greatest percentage in, so you're going to say something different here. Whereas Poland had the greatest percentage, greatest. So one word they've used is highest. Here they've used greatest. In the earlier one, we saw marginally and a slight decline. These are the synonyms used. So they're using different words in each sentence and not each part of the sentence. It is also noticeable that all countries experience changes over period. The Finland being only nation where the figure remained unchanged. It is also noticeable, instead of saying it can be seen that, it is also noticeable that all countries experienced changes over the period, except, you could have just said except, but with Finland being the only nation where the figure remained unchanged. Okay. In Italy, the UK, and Poland, the proportion of the students increased significantly. So, increased significantly. In 2000, 38% of young Italians, 38% of young Italians, and 64% of Polish youth, young Italians, Polish youth, were studying at university, and these figures rose by 14% in both countries by 2007. So you've talked about the increase in both countries in just one sentence. And likewise in the UK, that means in the same way. So this is another word, likewise. In the UK, the percentage increased from 46 to 54% over the same period. In contrast, okay, again, for body paragraph 2, we saw that in the earlier one, and this one they're using the word in contrast. In contrast, Spain and Norway experienced slight declines. In Spain, the figure dropped from 46% to 41%, while in Norway it fell marginally marginally shows the small decline, marginally from 66 to 65%. So figure dropped. Figure dropped from 46 to 41%, while in Norway it fell marginally from 66 to 65%. Meanwhile, Finland maintained a stable percentage of 70% in both the years, remaining the highest among the 6 countries. So what all new things did we learn here? Increased significantly young Italians, 60% of the Polish youth. Likewise, in contrast, figures dropped, fell marginally. Meanwhile, Finland maintained a stable percentage. Maintained a stable percentage of 70% in both years, remained the highest among the 6 countries in 2000. That was a Band 8 sample. Now let's look at the Band 8 scoring breakdown. So first you can see that you have task achievement, Band 8. So this question fully addresses the tasks with a clear summary and key comparisons, includes accurate figures. This is very important, okay? So clear summary is important, that is your overview, and key comparisons, that is important. Likewise, while, in contrast, and those are the comparisons you can use. Imperative language that you can use. Includes accurate figures without unnecessary detail. So just saying it shows a decline of 14%, or it showed it dropped to 54%. You should give exact figures. What some students do is, even when they see exact 54%, they write around 50% or slightly over 50%. If you see 54% in the question, you have to write 54% in the answer as well. You should use accurate figures without any unnecessary detail. Highlights overall trends rather than listing all numbers. This is another mistake that students make. They list the numbers and they think that's how reporting is, but that is not the case. You don't list the numbers, you highlight the overall trend, and you just show how the trend is and shows the increase and the decrease. That's what you do. A clear summary. Okay, so those are the things you should be careful there. Then coherence and cohesion. Logical structure. You should have an introduction, overview, main details, and comparison. So it has that. Clear paragraphing and linking words overall, whereas in contrast, likewise. Appropriate grouping and comparison rather than describing each country separately. You're grouping the countries, right? Finland, you're separating Finland and the other 2 countries together. You're grouping the countries. Next one, lexical resource. What's lexical resource? That is wide range of academic vocabulary like recorded, proportion, experienced, significantly, in contrast, marginally, maintained, stable. See, aren't these words that we already know? Are these new words to us? No. These are the words we already know. So how do we polish that? Again, you should read essays and answers so that you would see these words again and again, and it will be engraved in your memory and you will be able to use it. Accurate word choice. No repetition of common words like increase, decrease. So that's why you have to say dropped, declined, and you have to use different words. I'll show you a list of words later. For now, just understand it. Grammatical range and accuracy. Mix of simple, compound, and complex sentences. Accurate use of comparison language and passive structures. No grammatical or punctuation mistakes. Accurate use of comparison language and passive structures. I showed you an example of passive structure, right? That is what it is. Simple, compound, complex sentences. No grammatical or punctuation mistakes. Alternative overview sentences. So I'll show you what different ways of writing the overview. First one, overall Finland had the highest proportion of university students in 2000, while Poland recorded the greatest share in 2000. So just saying the highest proportion. Additionally, all countries showed variations over the period except for Finland, where the figure remained unchanged. So they just said all the highest, and countries that showed variations over the period except for Finland, where the figure remained unchanged. Overview option 2. Overall, although participation in higher education generally increased in most countries, Spain and Norway were slight declines, and Finland's figure stayed constant over the 7-year period. This is a bit advanced, but do we have to read it and try to understand it? Yes. In an overview, it is evident that university enrollment rose in Italy, the UK, Poland, whereas Spain and Norway experienced minor drops. Finland, however, maintained the highest and most stable percentage throughout the period. So here, over the 7-year period. So here, if you have to say, don't just say over the period, you have to say over the 7-year period. Then overview option 4. Overall, university attendance became more widespread in the majority of nations surveyed, with Finland consistently maintaining the largest share, while Poland demonstrated the most significant growth by 2007. You don't need to write an overview like this to get band 8 or band 7. You can just write the ones that I showed you before. That would be fine. Now let's look at some vocabulary. Use these instead of words like increase, decrease, go up, go down. So you should by heart these words, I would say, so that when you write the answer, when you describe a graph, you will know which all words to use, where to use which all words. Verbs: increased, rose, grew, climbed, decreased, declined, dropped, fell, remained stable, stayed constant, was unchanged, fluctuated, leveled off, peaked, that means reached a highest point of, reached the lowest point. Adverbs: slightly, marginally. We saw how marginally is used, right? Slightly, marginally, minimally, steadily, gradually, consistently, significantly, substantially, considerably, rapidly, sharply, dramatically. Now let's look at some nouns. An increase, rise, growth, an upward trend. You should by heart these words and use them in your answers, okay? A decrease, a fall, a drop, a reduction, a downward trend. fluctuation, period of stability. Band 9, high level phrases. Use these for exam lexical variety and academic tone. Use these for maximum lexical variety and academic tone. Verbs: surged, escalated. This all mean like increased. Verbs: surged, escalated, accelerated, plummeted, plunged. Surged means increased very quickly and suddenly. So I've also given the meaning so that it would be easier for you to understand and learn those words. So increased very quickly and suddenly. Example: sales surged in December due to holiday shopping. Okay. Went up sharply. It means to go up sharply. Escalated, it means increased rapidly, especially when something becomes more serious or intense. The cost of fuel escalated in 2023, rose more and more over time. Accelerated, meaning started increasing or decreasing faster than before. The rate of development accelerated after new technology was introduced. Speed of growth became faster. Plummeted, fell or dropped very quickly and suddenly. The number of tourists plummeted during the pandemic. Advanced phrases: showed an upward trajectory. It means moved in a continuous upward direction, continued to increase over time. Example: the number of online shoppers showed an upward trajectory between 2015 and 2020. So this is another word: experienced a moderate, marked, considerable increase. So you can use those words: experienced a moderate increase, marked a considerable increase. Witnessed a slight downward shift. Hit a peak of. This is where I'm witness a slight downward shift. I'm not reading the meanings. You can read the meanings later. Hit a peak of. Stood at, accounted for, represented, reached a plateau at. So these are all the words or vocabulary that you can learn in order to write a flawless task 1 answer. Reached a plateau at. I've given the meaning and the example sentence here, okay? So, yeah, maintained a consistently high proportion. Ranked first among the 6 countries. Now let's look at a template. So this is what you should be able to say after this live. I mean, you should be able to have an idea about the template. You need an introduction, an overview paragraph, then body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2. For introduction, you can write: the bar chart illustrates, shows or compares the proportion, percentage, number of n locations in years. Okay? For overview, you can say overall it's clear that, write the first trend, then the second trend additionally, then write the general pattern or dominant country. Body paragraph 1, you can write on the basis of the highest trend, which is the highest or increasing trend. Body paragraph 2, you can write lowest or decreasing trend. I mean, this template is based on the question we discussed today. So that's why that it is given like that. This is just a template so that you can understand. But you don't have to copy this template, write a template on your own. You have to go through multiple sample answers of bar graph and you have to make a template of your own using the words that I showed you before. You can use which all types of words are you're comfortable with in writing in your task 1. You can select those words and you can write. example overview using template. Then band 9 model, there is a band 9 model here. You can go through it, or if we get time in the next slide we'll read that. Okay, this is a band 9 model. You can go through it. So this is more like the ones that I discussed just now, so I'm not reading it now in the live today, so you can go through it. It is available here. You can pause the live and read it. This is just for you to get an idea about how band 9 answer would look like. Many students don't need band 9, they need band 7 or band 6.5 or band 6. So I usually give my students band 7, band 8 answers. I usually don't give band 9 answers. It is not necessary for you to read and understand those kind of answers if you you only need a 6.5 or 6 or 7. Okay, so but if you want and if you're curious, you can go through this. I've put the answer here. So that's all about bar graph. I hope you got some idea about it. We'll meet again in the next live, which will be on Friday at 5:30 p.m. Till then, bye, take care, and good night.